My name is Clint Penamonte, and this is Kenny's 300. The activity or skill that I chose was a half-board shot. The goal that I chose for my subject was to make 1 out of 10 shots. I chose that goal because during a half-court shot, it predominantly uses or needs power over accuracy, and not a lot of people who play basketball, novice or professional, can make a shot. So I just wanted to change the mechanics and help her improve her shot. The clip that I'm about to show you is the worst trial. What made this trial necessarily worse was that there wasn't any follow-through. Of all the 3 phases, there was a lot of improvements that needed to be made. The follow-through, the center of gravity was all off. The ball was placed to the side instead of the center of gravity, which decreases the force behind the shot and the power behind the shot. As also the footing was completely off. There wasn't any balance. I will now discuss the 2 elements of each phase: preparation, force, and follow-through. The first is preparation. The 2 elements that need to be brought up are body alignment, which also help with the equilibrium of the body, and also the inertia of the body. Inertia is important because it's the steady motion that the body must contain or remain so that the shot can be balanced. Without balance, the shot will be will falter. Footing is the second key element. Footing, without the initial footing, power and momentum will not be behind the shot, and there isn't a lot of kinetic energy. The next phase is force phase. The force phase, the 2 elements that are important to that is the weight transfer between body parts, from the legs to the arms, and second is the body posture. What heavily affects the body posture and the weight transfer is the centric force, which is the force that goes through the center of gravity of the object. The angular motion in response to the angular velocity. That will go ahead, and if there is posture and there's transfer from one weight, there's power and strength within the shot, and basically the degrees of rotation of the ball will stay steady so that the flight pattern is consistent and stable. And also the impulse on the shot as well. Once initial footing happens and the body posture remains balanced, there should be a stronger impulse on the shot. The final phase is the follow-through phase, and there's 2 key elements that I want to go ahead and touch up on. The first one is balance, and the second one is propulsion phase, or propulsion forward of the subject using momentum and force as it impulses the ball, by putting impulse on the ball as to go ahead and do for flight pattern. Balance is very key and important for the beginning and also the ending phase of shooting a half-court shot, because it deals with momentum and also the body of inertia, or the inertia of the body. It's essential to the subject because once the subject lands, it can go ahead and there's dynamic stabilization, going from something of a lot of force to landing very quickly and evenly. This also, just like in beginning phases, this works also for body equilibrium, and also it gives the shooter or the subject a better base support. There are 3 faults associated with the subject. I rank them in accordance to the phase because they're equally important. One is like a domino effect. One cannot happen correctly if the first one is done wrong. The first one was footing. This was mainly used for alignment and balance purposes. It will go ahead and help with the transfer momentum and also the momentum and power and the impulse of the shot. This is the initial step. Second to important is the ball being away from the center of gravity. In the pre-video, the subject was shooting from the side of her body instead of the center of gravity. What the center of gravity is, or the force that through the center of gravity, is called the centric force through the angular motion. So if the subject go ahead and shoots from the center of gravity of her body, she'll go ahead and maintain more momentum, power, and also the projection speed of the ball will go ahead and be increased. Anything in the flight pattern, from anything from flight velocity to the parabola of the shot, will go ahead and increase. And finally, the last one is balance. Balance was the third one. In the pre-video, she did not have any balance. So if there is any transfer momentum from her legs to her arms and arms back to her legs, she needed to go ahead and focus on the balance, and also to keep the inertia at the bottom, so that even when the body's propulsion, if the body is squared up evenly, the shot has a better chance because the flight pattern will not be disturbed. This will I'll go ahead and I will show you the clips of the drills that I use specifically for helping my subject improve her mechanics of her shot. The first one, these are all in accordance to all the phases. The first major drill that I had her do was the initial step through of the footing. Second, the chest pass, so that she can develop a motion of going through the center of gravity so that there's more power and momentum through the shot. And finally, gathering herself fully at the very end so that she lands evenly from the 1 foot position or the takeoff position into the landing position. The next the next clip I will show you is the best trial of the post video, where she completes everything. There are a lot of improvements in the video. There also needed some work to be done. Some improvements were the follow-through, the force through the center of gravity. The footing was always on point, and there was little. I didn't have to use a lot of positive cues, or I had to slowly go away from her so she can go ahead and learn. On the other hand, there was needed improvements. The balance was still needed to be done. She still was kind of stiff off the release. I wanted a little bit more of a free motion.